Apple Gift Card is a practical gift that unlocks a world of entertainment and fun. You can send it via email or give a physical card to your loved ones. Your friends and family can spend it on their favorite Apple services, including Apple subscriptions. Apple Gift Card can be used to buy all things Apple. Products, accessories, apps, games, movies, TV shows, iCloud Plus, and more. Visit apple.com for details and to send Apple Gift Cards to your friends and family this holiday season.
This is the Mistress Carrie Situation Report for December 11th, 2023. Your daily entertainment headlines, industry info, and everything rock. Well, it looks like Pearl Jam are going to be announcing their 2024 world tour this week. The band announced it in their newsletter, saying, quote, "Be sure to keep your 10 Club membership up to date. We wouldn't want you to miss out on anything." The residential UK studio where Black Sabbath preferred to write and rehearse is now up for sale for $2.45 million. The old mill house was once part of the iconic Rockfield Studio Complex, which is located in rural Wales. The owner has run it as a separate studio, holiday home, and business center, now wants to move on and hopes the next owners will continue its musical heritage. She said, "I've been told that behind all of the soundproofing on the walls is where Ozzy drew pentagrams on the walls. I was told Jimmy Page had drawn a mural on the wall too. So when somebody buys the house, if they don't want this room as a studio, they could strip it out and God only knows what they'll find." She also called the members of Black Sabbath, quote, "lovely." Mark Tremonti from Creed in a recent interview talked about the band being overwhelmed by the response to their reunion tour, saying, quote, "We knew we were going to do a tour. We just didn't know how big of a tour it was going to be. We kind of wanted to use the cruise as a gauge to the amount of receptive people there were going to be." He continued to say, "We appreciate it because ever since Creed broke up the first time, we took that break. We realized how well we all had it as far as radio play and ticket sales and all of that stuff. And then when we started Alter Bridge, we realized how much work it took to get back to that level, at least over in Europe. I wish I could sell 1/10 of the tickets that Creed sells with my band Tremonti. And that's why we appreciate how well Creed is done, because we get to relive all of those years that we first got excited about being professional musicians." Jack Black made a surprise appearance at the Jonas Brothers concert in New York over the weekend, and he performed Peaches from the Super Mario Brothers movie. The track, which is sung by Black's character Bowser in the movie, entered the Billboard Hot 100 chart earlier this year. During the intermission at the concert at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, Jack Black came on stage dressed as Bowser and sang Peaches live. You can check out footage online. Pete Townsend has said The Who will have talks about where they go next. The band wrapped up their final orchestral tour date over the summer. Pete Townsend now said he's looking at meeting up with Roger Daltrey about the band's future plans, saying, quote, "I think it's time for Roger and I to go to lunch and have a chat about what happens next, because Sandringham shouldn't feel like that's the end of anything, but it feels like the end of an era. It's a question of really what is feasible and what would be lucrative and what would be fun. So I wrote to Roger and said, come on, let's have a chat and see what's there." ZZ Top's Billy Gibbons, Slash, and Miles Kennedy, along with Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening and Clutch, were among artists that performed at Warren Haynes Presents Christmas Jam this weekend. The 32nd annual event took place on Saturday at the ExploreAsheville.com arena in Haynes' hometown of Asheville, North Carolina. Among the highlights was a rendition of Lynyrd Skynyrd's Simple Man, Billy Gibbons performing ZZ Top hits Jesus Just Left Chicago and Sharp Dressed Man, and Slash and Miles Kennedy running through rock classics like Feel Like Making Love, You Shook Me All Night Long, Knocking on Heaven's Door, and Hunger Strike. Funds raised by the event get donated to Habitat for Humanity and Beloved Asheville. Speaking of ZZ Top, Julian's Auctions concluded their marquee event, the collection of Dusty Hill of ZZ Top, netting over $3 million during the 3-day auction. His 1953 Fender Precision bass guitar, the most played instrument by Dusty Hill out of all of the guitars in his collection, sold for just under $400,000. His fur bass that was played in ZZ Top's iconic Legs music video sold to a bidder in the room for $317,000. Wolfgang Van Halen and Michael Anthony celebrated their friendship when they met at Mammoth WVH's concert in Las Vegas on Friday. It's the first time the original Van Halen bassist has met his replacement in person in 2 decades. Proving that there are no hard feelings, the two posed together for a picture. Saying on social media, ran into an old friend at the Mammoth WVH show in Vegas tonight. Love you, Mikey. Michael Anthony writing, went to see Mammoth WVH last night in Vegas and they threw it down. Love you, Wolf. Great to see you. Slipknot fans think that the band is teasing a tour to celebrate the 25th anniversary of their self-titled debut album. The release, featuring Wait and Bleed, Sick, Eyeless, Spit It Out, and Surfacing, propelled the band to stardom at the turn of the century and remains a landmark release in modern metal. Over the weekend, the band shared a video captioned, "Here Comes the Pain," to their social media, which shows archived footage of the band playing around the time the self-titled album came out, showing all the original members and wearing the original masks. The brief snippet of Sick can be heard before the video flashes into present day. The end of the video displays the text 2024 with a 25 written inside of it. The video post also steers fans to the website youcan'tkillme.com. Actor and musician Johnny Depp delivered a personal message to the maestro Shane MacGowan at the late Pogue singer's funeral on Friday. The 65-year-old died from pneumonia in the hospital on November 30th. It came after he had been diagnosed with encephalitis and had been in ill health. The funeral took place in Tipperary, Ireland. Johnny Depp, who was a personal friend of the songwriter, gave a reading from one of the Catholic Church's prayers of the faithful. He gestured to MacGowan's coffin and proclaimed him a maestro. Nick Cave sat at the piano and played a 1986 Pogue song, A Rainy Night in Soho. Irish singers Mundy and Camille O'Sullivan performed a rendition of Haunted, a duet recorded by MacGowan and Sinead O'Connor in 1995. MacGowan's wife shared symbols of his life, including a book of his art and lyrics, a statue of Buddha, some tea bags, and a copy of Led Zeppelin II. It was announced that U2 frontman Bono was unable to attend the service. However, a recording was played out in his absence, with the Irish singer reading out a letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Shane MacGowan's family danced in the aisles of the church to Fairy Tale of New York in his honor. Dave Grohl spent his off day on the Foo Fighters' current Australian tour helping to feed the hungry. He volunteered at the Melbourne-based charity The Big Umbrella Foundation, treating people in need to a, quote, epic American-style barbecue with all the trimmings. The organization shared a post on their Instagram of Dave Grohl and the barbecue, accompanied by the caption telling the story about how he came to work with them, saying Dave and his mates spent 18 hours preparing and lovingly smoking pork ribs, pork butt, and beef brisket before delivering it to MG's kitchen the next morning. And you can add Falling in Reverse vocalist Ronnie Radke to the ever-growing chorus of artists speaking out against the practice of merch cuts. Headlining an event at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ronnie Radke vented against the venue for trying to enact a 25% cut of the gross of all merchandise that was generated and sold at the event. Saying in a statement online, quote, "There's not a single reason these venues have that makes this okay. So to anyone out there that's ever wondering why merch is so expensive, it's because these venues are stealing from the artist." That's your sit rep. For more details on all of the stories, check the links in the show notes of this episode. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie Podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Episode 183, featuring Philip J. Kriz, author of The Roadie Cartel, is available now.
At Henson, we're looking forward to the holidays, and that means more time in the kitchen. Now, imagine your trusty kitchen knife had a wobbly handle. You'd be nervous. Well, the same is true in shaving. Most razors on the market today don't support the blades well enough, allowing them to flex and bend. This is a source of razor burn. At Henson, we used our 20 years of aerospace manufacturing to solve this problem, supporting the blade so you can use it confidently. To learn more and to get 100 blades for free, go to hensonshaving.com/holiday.
Permit me here and now to promise as a good comrade and a fellow artist but I will not report any of this, whatever it is, to the police.
What would you say you do here?
Keep rolling.
Abandoned Albums is a podcast that employs a deep bench of musical archivists. These determined individuals dig through the record crates of the world to find the lost music of artists. Using a patent-pending algorithm and spirited debate, we pick one album as an inroad to talk about and then reach out to the artists. We invite them into Thunderlove Studio. When we're lucky, they say yes. Abandoned Albums is a little like this.
That was TNUC by Grand Funk Railroad. And I spelled the word backward in my head, and I immediately went out and bought the record.
They're like, do you know who we are? And we were like, I mean, kind of.
Well, you're in blue. Of course we know you.
Yeah, you're blue.
Yeah, you're blue, you're man.
Abandoned Albums isn't about the show, and it's not about the host or hosts. It's about the artist's work and making sure it remains, or in some cases, lands on, the cultural radar. It's why Abandoned Albums is the only music podcast that matters.
Wow, that was really, really enjoyable. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Yeah, all right, cool.
Abandoned Albums is a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.